Welcome back to all of the students of our Lord and Savior, Yeshua the Christ. It's in him that we live, we move, and we have our very being. I have to confess something to you powerfully. The bishop, and along with our staff back in New York City and our small staff here in Los Angeles, it's been a heavy 48 hours. Heavy spiritually, heavy mentally, heavy psychologically, because of what the deep state is attempting to do with Tucker Carlson. Now, what I am about ready to reveal tonight, the mainstream media will not reveal this to you. When I call out people's names, I'm not castigating them through a personal sense. I'm not castigating their families or their loved ones. My assignment tonight is to expose the darkness. And I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, that you and I are eyewitnessing a brand new Cold War in this country. Not through weapons of chemical and biological weapons, but you and I are eyewitnessing the downfall of not just Fox News, but the downfall of creative thinking. And thank you so much, Pastor Emma. And I have been in prayer on and off for the past 48 hours. And so what my contacts in the federal government has revealed to me, I'm going to reveal to you tonight. So Tucker Carlson was not let go because of the Dominion lawsuit. Neither was he let go because of his former producer, Abby Grossberg. And I will reveal her past to you, okay? That she was planted within Fox News to destroy it. You see, there's no fear in the bishop. True apostles have no fear. And we're not saying that Tucker Carlson is perfect. Neither are we saying that Brother Tucker did not make any mistakes. So what I am about ready to reveal tonight, it's had me in tears, Pastor Sam and Pastor Jody, for the past almost 48 hours, because you and I are in a war. Heavenly Father, send forth thy truth, for thy word is truth. In Yeshua's holy name. I invite your attention. Now, before we go into the scriptures, I was led of the Lord not to go on holiday vacation this week. My staff agreed because the bishop is a target. That's why I have security detail wherever I go, most of the time. And I felt the leading of the Lord not to travel on a plane for a while. And so I have to follow the leading of the Lord, okay? I invite your attention. Make sure you have 3 items. Number 1, make sure you have the greatest weapon in history, the gospel that Christ taught, the King James interpretation. If you don't have the physical King James interpretation, at least have the electronic version. Thank you, Apostle Kim. If you don't have the physical King James Version, I need you to have the electronic version. www.King James Bible Online, King James Bible Online. That's number one. Okay, that's number one. Number two, make sure we have 2 to 3 pens. And number 3, make sure that you have a large notebook. Ever since the Mike Todd teaching, I've been under attack with this cough again, but no weapon that's formed against us shall prosper. All right, let's go straight into the word of the Lord. I invite your attention tonight to St. Paul's letter to the Apostolic Church at Ephesus. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And I also need you to go back in the same book of Ephesians, but go back to chapter 5, please. Chapter 5, verse 13. The key verse tonight will come out of 1 John, 1 John chapter 3, verse 8. Ephesians 6 and 12, Ephesians 5:13, and the key verse from whence we shall receive the topic tonight will come out of 1 John 3 and 8. All right, Ephesians chapter 6, verse number 12. Hear ye the word of the Lord. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, or we wrestle not against our fallen state, our way of thinking called bloodlines, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. And since there are rulers of the darkness of this world, there has to be rulers of the darkness of other worlds against spiritual wickedness in high places. High places. Notice the term high places. Though we're in the Greek New Testament, but the Czechoslovakian interpretation for places, it means Bohemian. Against spiritual wickedness in high places or high Bohemians. Now, go back to chapter 5 of Ephesians. Stay there in Ephesians. Chapter 5, verse 13, hear ye the word of the Lord. But all things that are reproved, rebuked, corrected, and exposed are made manifest by the light, the truth. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light or the truth. Notice that term light. For his yoke is easy, his burden is light. Not L-I-T-E as in weight, but L-I-G-H-T as in illumination. Our key verse tonight, ladies and gentlemen, will come out of 1 John chapter 3, verse number 8. John, 1 John, written by the Apostle John, 1 John chapter 3, verse 8, hear ye the word of the Lord. He that committeth sin, or he that practices sin, habitually is of the devil. For the devil sinneth from the beginning, prior to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. For this purpose, for this assignment, through this mantle, the body of God, the Son of God, was manifested that he might destroy the works or the deceptions of the devil. Now go back to Ephesians chapter 6, verse number 12. Ladies and gentlemen, I felt the leading of the Lord, not to get on a plane and go overseas to my vacation home, but to speak on the subject tonight. And I want every one of you contact people on Telegram, Gab, contact people throughout Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, including TikTok. Tonight's message, the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. Again, the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. Let's lay apostolic and political foundation. The wisdom of when Shakespeare once said, through his play, The Merchant of Venice, nay, indeed, if you had your eyes, you might fail of the knowing me. It is a wise father that knows his own child. Well, an old man, I will tell you news of your son. Shakespeare goes on to say, give me your blessing, truth will come to light. Murder cannot be hid long. A man's son may, but at the length, truth will out. Truth will come to light because truth will out. In Hamlet, Shakespeare also declared, if it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. The individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous that he or she cannot believe it exists. The American mind simply has not come to the realization of the evil which has been introduced into our midst. Your bishop is a lover of not just history, but of the history of the Roman Empire. When the Roman general Sulla, a patriot, marched on Rome to purge the city of traitors and jackals. Now, by all accounts, students, it was a political, psychological, and a physical bloodbath. General Sulla's greatest rival was a young man by the name of Gaius Marius, called Marius the Younger. Marius was a part of the Roman deep state that, according to the Roman legal historian Ovid Publius, the code name for young Marius was called the Kraken. Again, the code name for Marius was called the Kraken, Kraken. For those of you students of historicity, the term Kraken, according to Greek mythology, is a sea monster with global tentacles, born from the giants Oceanus, which means ocean, and Ceto. The term Kraken means global manipulation. The Patriot General Sulla had the Kraken, young Marius, liquidated. General Sulla decapitated the head of this woke deep stater, young Marius, and brought it into the Forum and the Senate. General Sulla had placed the decapitated head of the deep state, young Marius, in his hands, and in front of the entire Forum and the Senate, General Sulla said, looking in the face of the dead eyes of this decapitated deep stater, young Marius, and he declared, first, you must learn to pull an oar. Only then can you take the helm. Then General Sulla, after he said those words, took the head of the Kraken, took the head of the Roman deep state swamp, took the head of young Marius, and handed it to the parents of young Marius. First to his father, Gaius Marius, and to his mother, Julia, who is in the bloodline of Julius Caesar. And when the Patriot, General Sulla, had said, now has your power become obsolete. In front of the entire world. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. In order to understand what happened on yesterday, we first must go back to a particular bloodline in the background of this deep state family in order to understand the foreground of what happened yesterday in New York City. The bloodline. Beginning with the state of Moravia, capital Moravia, Moravia, during the first half of the 9th century through the region called the Paleolithic region, even going back to 27,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, there was a group of people called the Slavics, 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 called the Moravians, which later produced a Germanic Quadi bloodline, Quadi, who were mercenaries. In the year of 822 AD, the first Duke of Moravia was an assassin, a mercenary by the name of Mojmir, capital Mojmir, who had produced generations of mercenaries whose bloodline would later produce the Bohemian groves of Eastern Europe. The Roman Empire and the extension of not just through the Byzantine Empire, but later the Carolingian Frankish dynasty, 846 to 869 AD, the Mohammed dynasty, Moimrid dynasty, which then gave birth to the Principality of Bohemia. Bohemia in the groves and Eastern, Central, and Western Europe, even going back to 2,000 years. The kingdom of Bohemia was a duchy or a territory under the guidance of the Roman Empire. This is interesting. The kingdom of Bohemia, which is now called the Czech Republic, was once the principality of the Roman Empire. The lands of the Bohemian crowns, states in Central Europe during the medieval and early modern periods, connected and through feudal obligations to the Bohemian Illuminati kings, who produced bloodlines of assassins and mercenaries, which then will give birth to the Habsburg dynasty, and through the extension of the Austrian branch of the Habsburg dynasty. The term Austrian is a present-day interpretation of the term Habsburg. The Bohemian state bloodlines continued throughout the centuries and developing a group of assassins called the Boi, capital Boi, who were paid assassins and mercenaries whose sole intent was to protect the political power of Rome, the Byzantine Empire, and later the Habsburg dynasty. The Slavic state of Moravia came under the rule of another assassin by the name of Svatopluk, Svatopluck, whose intent was to assassinate any messengers that went outside of the social order of the Bohemian system. The Bohemian Kingdom and the groves, the first Bohemian Grove was revealed in the mid-1800s and was subsidized financially by Anselm Solomon von Rothschild. Anselm Solomon von Rothschild in 1845 put up the seed money for the first Bohemian Grove in the 18th century, which is now called the Czech Republic. Anselm Solomon Rothschild, or better known as Anselm Solomon von Rothschild, was a financial kingmaker of the Habsburgs and the Hungarian families of Black nobility. Roman Empire ritualistic sites going back 2,000 years. One is even located in Northern California called Bohemian Grove. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Patriot Purge. Two assassins, one by the name of Cyril, Cyril, a second assassin by the name of Methodius, capital M-E-T-H, Methodius, O-D-I-U-S, were mercenaries representing the Byzantine Empire in 862 AD. As a side note, Methodius, his name would go on to be designed for the dogma of Methodism or the United Methodist Church. Another topic for another day. The Dukes of Moravia from Mojmir, M-O-J-M-I-R, to Rastlav, R-A-S-T-I-S-L-A-V, to Charles III from 1916 to 1918, during World War I, which also produced the bloodline of the Premyslid bloodline, P-R-E-M-Y-S-L-I-D bloodlines, all mercenaries going back not just to the serpent, but to the Moravian Empire. The Bohemian bloodlines extended into Ireland, Scotland, France, and Germany. Through an island off of the coast of Ireland called the Valentia Island, capital V-A-L-E-N-T-I-A, the Valentia Island, and centuries later produced in 1005 AD, according to the Biographical Encyclopedia of the Kings and Queens of Great Britain, a man by the name of Flawed, capital F-L-A-A-L-D, Senecal, S-E-N-E-S-C-H-A-L, Day, D-E-Dole, capital D-O-L. Flawed Senecal Day Dole, born in 1005 AD in central France. The bloodline of the Flaweds produce Elaine Fritz Flawed and produce Flawed Fitz, F-I-T-Z, later in 1046. Then Alan Fitz Flawed, F-L-W-A-L-D, in 1078, also in Central France. And the Flawed, F-L-W-A-L-D, Fitz Allen bloodline continued from Ireland, from France, into Wales through a man by the name of Alan Flawed, F-L-W-A-L-D, Fitz, the sheriff of Shopshine, S-H-O-P-H-S-P-H-I-N-E, S-H-O-P-S-H-I-N-E, would produce Walter Fitz Island, Walter Fitz Allen, A-L-A-N, who was the high steward over domestic affairs over Scotland, which would produce the House of Stewart, S-T-U-A-R-T, later named to Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T. The royal houses of Scotland, England, Ireland, France, and Great Britain, with Bohemian, Germanic, and French blood. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. The first monarch of the Stuart line was Robert II. His male descendants became kings and queens and potentates in Scotland from 1371 AD. Through Mary, Queen of Scots, who was not born in Scotland, but born in central France, through the Flawed, F-A-F-L-W-A-L-D. Mary, Queen of Scots, not born in England, not born in Scotland, but born in central France, through the Flawed, F-L-W-A-L-D bloodline. She then adopted the French version called Stuart, S-T-U-A-R-T. Fitz Allen bloodline, 900 AD. So this is a history of what we call mercenaries, who were the financial comptrollers of the royal houses of Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. The comptrollers taking care of Rothschild money throughout Europe. The House of Stuart, the House of Tudor, through the House of Fitz Allen, all mercenaries. As a side note, remember Operation London Bridge? Queen Elizabeth, her son Charles, who's going to be coronated next month, they come from the same bloodline of the Bohemians throughout Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. David Fitz Allen, out of Scotland, born in 1126 AD, then centuries later, in the year of 1300, John Day Graham, D-E space Graham, who became the 9th Earl of Menteith, M-E-N-T-E-I-T-H, out of England and Scotland. Now, as a side note, the term Earl is not just a political ranking, but a military ranking. He or she, mostly he, ranks third. The term ranking means grades. This is where you get the Western educational paradigm of grade A, B, C, D, E, or F. So the Earl was in the third rank, called C's. The last ranks, those in the ranking of F or F plus, were those who were the peasants forced to fight and proxy wars. But yet, in the Western educational system, grades A, B, C, D, E, and F. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. The Bohemian bloodlines that were eventually produced, Queen Elizabeth, they invaded England in 1346 through a bloodline, an extension out of France and Scotland with Bohemian Grove blood, a man by the name of Murdoch Stewart. S-T-A-U-R-T. S-T-A-U-R-T, or Stewart. The second Duke of Albany, who was beheaded in 1425 for treason, who produced a son by the name of Robert Stewart Murdoch. Mercenaries. The bloodline of the Murdochs, M-U-R-D-O-C-K, or Stewarts, eventually changed their name to Murdoch, D-O-C-H, who were all stewards and mercenaries protecting the financial interests of the Rothschilds through Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. The seal of the Murdoch bloodline through Robert Stewart, the Duke of Albany in England, was a currency that was embossed with names of those who would be assassinated or taken out, who were a threat to the New World Order of that time in the 1300s in Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. It's called the Seal of Murdoch. Genetically, generationally later, the Murdochs out of France and England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland and the Kingdom of Bohemia, which is called Czechoslovakia, would intermarry into a particular bloodline called the Hawk family out of the Principality of Bohemia in the 1400s. The Hawk, H-O-C-H, through centuries would change their name from Hawk to Maxwell. I got the best staff in the world of researchers. Maxwell's, which would produce Sir Robert Maxwell and his daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell. I want you to follow me here tonight. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. The Murdochs, whose real name is the House of Stewart, whose real name is the Allen Fitz bloodline, whose real name is the the bloodline of the Bohemians, whose real name is the Empire of the Moravians, moved into Melbourne, Victoria, Australia in 1884 through a man by the name of Joseph Patrick Murdoch. The Murdochs out of France, Bohemia, the UK, England, Scotland, Ireland, France, having Moravian, Bohemian bloodline, also through Stirling, Scotland, and it was the Murdochs out of Stirling, Scotland, who built the Stirling Castle in 1540 for James V, the King of England. The Stirling Castle during the 15, 16, and 1700s was used for child prostitution. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Then later, a man by the name of Sir Keith Murdoch and his wife Elizabeth Murdoch, both out of Cruden, Scotland. Elizabeth gave birth to a son on the 11th of March, 1931, by the name of Keith Rupert Murdoch. No one is teaching this. If you're going to understand what happened yesterday, we're going to have to go back into the history, the historicity of bloodlines, in order to understand the foreground of what happened yesterday. Keith Rupert Murdoch, now the chairman and the CEO of News Corp, that began in 1980, that split in 2012 between News Corp and 21st Century Fox. Rupert Murdoch comes from a bloodline of assassins and killers and mercenaries, going back not just to the serpent, but going back to the Moravian empires, the Bohemian empires, the Habsburg dynasty, including the House of Stuart. The executive chairman of News Corp, Fox News. Now, as a side note, the executive chairman of News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, his third ex-wife, who happened to be, at the time, his third wife, is a woman by the name of Wendy Dang, or Wendy Murdoch, D-E-N-G, Dang Murdoch, who, according to the CIA, is actually a Chinese spy. Another topic for another day. Now, as a side note, in 2016, the ex-third wife of Rupert Murdoch, Wendy Dang Murdoch, created a Chinese online educational system by the name of VidKid, capital VIPKID. Now, the Crop News Network, MSNBC, Fox, they will tell you that a woman by the name of Cindy Wenjun, W-E-N-J-U-N, then me, M-I, who is a member of the World Economic Forum, including Rupert Murdoch's third wife, Wendy Murdoch. Cindy Wenjia Mi is just the chairman of VidKid. VidKid is a global online educational platform that hires Western teachers to teach Chinese children English. VidKid is nothing but a Trojan horse for Chinese intelligence. Wendy Murdoch knew Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, in August of 2016, wrote Wendy Dang Murdoch and Cindy Wenjia Mi a check for $1 million. Kobe did not have spiritual discernment to understand that VidKid, that money, went to the Chinese Communist Party. The assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. Fox News Corporation, the Murdoch family, only owns 39% of the corporation. Allow me to say this again. The Murdoch family only owns 39% of the Fox News Corporation. But Pastor Colleen, the question remains to be answered. If the Murdochs own 39% of the Fox News Corporation, who owns the balance of 61% of the Fox News Corporation? The BlackRock Incorporated Fund, ran by Larry Fink, the same one who owns Norfolk Southern, the same trains that crashed some time ago near a town called East Palestine. Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock, they also own the government of Ukraine. You see, the media is not going to tell you this. So the Murdoch family only owns 39%, but the remaining balance of 61% is owned by Larry Fink and the BlackRock Group in New York City. Also, Fox is ran by the Vanguard Group. Vanguard is owned by BlackRock. Also, the Capital Research Global Investment Group is owned by Vanguard, that's owned by BlackRock. BlackRock, going back as early as 2020, bought a controlling interest in Fox News because Larry Fink knew what was coming down the pike. Oh, I want you all to hear me tonight. Tucker Carlson was not fired because of Dominion. I'll tell you later during the lecture who was responsible for his political and social assassination. March of 2021, a defamation lawsuit was filed in New York City, March of 2021, but the case was to be referred to the state of Delaware. Why Delaware? Fox News is not in the state of Delaware. The same thing that they're trying to do to President Trump is the same thing that they're trying to do to Fox, is to destroy it. The Dominion lawsuit for $1.6 billion. Why that amount? Dominion in 2024, next year, needs an additional $1.6 billion to expand their reach around the world. Why not 1 billion? Why not 3 billion? Why 1.6 billion? Why wasn't Maria Bartiromo fired? Why wasn't Sean Hannity fired? Why wasn't Judge Jeanine Pirro fired? Why wasn't Jesse Waters fired? They talked about not just BlackRock, but Dominion more so than what Tucker talked about. But Tucker Carlson was fired, and I'll tell you why later. There are upcoming lawsuits against Sidney Powell. Now, rightfully so, Sidney Powell represented General Michael Flynn. But Tucker had called her out by calling her a liar because Tucker and his staff wanted evidence, Pasatira, concerning the Dominion machines. Sidney Powell did not provide that. Sidney Powell is a liar. Rudy Giuliani did not provide that information. Someone high up, not just in Fox, but in BlackRock, had targeted Tucker Carlson. Let's continue the lay foundation. Rupert Murdoch is worth $17.5 billion. Fox News, as of today's closing, before 4 p.m., before Wall Street had closed, was worth $16.4 billion. But they lost, Fox did, $500 million in market value after Tucker Carlson's dismissal. Then it went up to $690 million. Then it went up to $700 million. Today, Fox Corporation stock lost $1 billion in total cap value since yesterday's dismissal of Tucker Carlson. They're plunging 5% per day. Let me tell you something. God had spoken to me and said, "Thus saith the Lord, Fox News will be sold." Fox News will be sold. The Dominion voting system. Now let's break this down concerning the Dominion Voting Corporation. Why is a foreign company out of Canada, Dominion, with a U.S. office in Denver, Colorado, why are they running American elections? Why is it that a foreign company, a foreign corporation, a foreign entity like Dominion is running U.S. elections? This is corruption. The Dominion Voting Systems is a privately held company. Dominion reported 75% of its ownership. Well, who owns the Dominion Corporation? 75% is owned by a venture capital group by the name of the Staple Street Capital Group. 12% is owned by John Paulos, and the remaining balance is owned by private investors. Prior to the 2018 acquisition of Dominion by the Staple Street venture capital firm, the Canadian government ran the Dominion voting systems. Dominion, they have voting machines, not just here in the United States and South America, but throughout the world. Dominion is the second largest provider of U.S. election systems. Can I take my time tonight? I'm going to take my time. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. The Dominion voting systems, which is based in Toronto, Canada, with a presence in Denver, Colorado, runs elections in Venezuela, Brazil, Argentina, throughout Central and South America, throughout Africa, and throughout the world. The political ties of the Dominion system. I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying that they rigged the election. I'm just giving the receipts. And it's up to you, the American people, to come up with the proper conclusion. Dominion employees have made less than $1,300 in political contributions. Now, a lobbyist by the name of Brian McKeon, McKeon, who previously worked for the Obama administration, is a Brownstein lobbyist representing Dominion. In 2019, Brian McKeon donated to Senator Mitch McConnell's Senate campaign. Mitch McConnell is nothing but a demon. The Staple Street Capital Venture Group, whose board member, one of his board members, is a man by the name of William Key Kennard. William E. Kennard. Well, who is William E. Kennard? He was the Obama administration's ambassador to the EU. Again, I'm not blaming them for rigging the elections. My job is to connect the dots. And it's up to you, the American people, to come up with the proper conclusion. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Allow me to get a drink of water. Let me ask you a question. Is your minds blown tonight? Is your minds blown? Put up those faces if your minds are blown. No one is teaching this, not on this level. George Soros, we're told, does not own Dominion. And no one said that George Soros owns Dominion, but he owns shares of the Dominion Voting Corporation, whose reach is also down in South American elections. Mark Malloch Brown, who is connected to George Soros, Mark Malloch Brown is the chairman of Smartmatic. Mark Malloch Brown previously worked for Dominion. And Mark Malloch Brown was a former employee of the Open Source Society Foundation out of New York City. That's George Soros. I'm not saying George Soros owns Dominion, but George Soros has shares and he has contacts within Dominion and Smartmatic. Dominion, to my understanding, donated between $50,000 and $100,000. And this is according to the Security Exchange Commission in New York City and in DC. Between $50,000 and $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation, and was previously a part of a Clinton Foundation commitment to provide election equipment to developing countries. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Nancy Pelosi's former chief of staff, a lobbyist by the name of Hyatt Farber Schreck, who was a lobbyist, currently lobbies for Dominion. Nancy Pelosi's former chief of staff. The Blum Capital Group, capital B-L-U-M Capital Group, the firm of Senator Feinstein out of California. Her husband, Richard Blum, is a previous investor in a software company called Avid Technology, which makes election software for Dominion and Smartmatic. Do you understand where I'm going with this conspiracy? How many of you have heard of the hammer and the scorecard? Lord have me. Let me wipe some of the anointing off. Listen. My bishop, what is the hammer and the scorecard? There's a secret computer software program that was designed by the Central Intelligence Agency prior to the 2008 campaign of one Barack Obama when he ran for the presidency the first time. It is a software that is designed to steal votes for the opposite candidate. A man by the name of Chris Gribbs, K-R-E-B-S, the head of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, said that the hammer and the scorecard does exist. The theory of the hammer and scorecard, man, I feel an anointing, came from a man by the name of Dennis Montgomery, a former CIA agent, a former government contractor who allegedly coined the term, and that term, ladies and gentlemen, is called the hammer in the scorecard. Please look that up. Wait a minute. So the hammer in the scorecard is a software structure that was designed by the Central Intelligence Agency, not just before the Obama administration, when they first took office in 2008, but also connected to the Director of National Intelligence at that time, James Clapper, and the Director of the CIA at that time, John Brennan, who had absolutely said in emails that they hated President Trump. The Staple Street Capital Board member, again, William E. Kennard, sits on the executive board of Dominion. No one is blaming Mr. Kennard or George Soros or the Clinton Foundation of anything. I'm just connecting the dots, and it's up to you, the American people, to come up with the proper conclusion. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Patriot Purge. The theory of the scorecard, the hammer in the scorecard, claims that a company named VR System siphoned votes in battleground states. According to the 2020 election, there were technical failures in the Dominion and Smartmatic voting machines in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. Georgia experienced problems on election morning with machines made by a company by the name of No Inc. K-N-O-W-I-N-K, No Inc., which is a subcontractor of Dominion voting systems in the counties of Morgan and Spalding, which prevented voters from casting ballots. The technology glitch was allegedly due to software upload the night before the election, but Dominion has disputed this. Of course they did. What else do you expect from a pig other than a grunt? Prior to the issues with Dominion in 2017 and 19, hacking conferences were able to successfully hack and exploit vulnerabilities within the Dominion voting machines. Going back to 2013 and 19, Texas twice rejected Dominion voting machines due to multiple hardware and software issues. In Georgia, during the 2020 primary elections, Dominion voting machines saw numerous problems, with some being delivered late, some suffering power problems, and other technical glitches. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. In Nevada's 2018 primary elections, it saw more than 300 reported errors from Dominion voting machines, including candidates being left off the ballots in some counties. In 2018, there were reports that the Dominion voting machines had overheated in Palm Beach, Florida. Going back further to, in 2012, Dominion voting machines in Florida awarded 2 Wellington Village Council seats to losing candidates due to the machine being set up incorrectly. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. According to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, they feel that both Dominion and Smartmatic needs a financial and a technological overhaul of their machines. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Tucker had targeted Dominion, but Tucker never said that the machines had rigged the election. All Tucker had said, this is what the Patriots were saying, this is what President Trump was saying, and this is what Rudy Giuliani and many of the attorneys from President Trump were saying. But they targeted Tucker Carlson for a reason. The ESG, the environmental, social, and governance investors groups, Big Pharma, proxy wars in Ukraine, Tucker was exposing these demonic entities. As of yesterday, $21 trillion are missing from American banks. Isn't that interesting? Instead of concentrating on $21 trillion that had just disappeared from the American banking system, we're caught up in this Fox News mess. It's called the law of distraction. In 2001, Donald Rumsfeld said that 12.3 excuse me, he said $12.3 trillion. See, the devil doesn't want me to teach us. $12.3 trillion was missing from the Pentagon. First, he said it was 2.3 trillion. Then it went up to 6.5. Then he said $12.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon. This was during the Bush administration years. Where has this money gone to? $21 trillion missing from American banks. 21.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon. That's $65,000 for every American. 6.5 trillion in 2015 missing from the Pentagon. That's the equivalent of $65,000 per American. This is according to the Office of the Inspector General in 2015. 2002, $300 million worth of defense spending is unaccounted for. $300 million. But we're distracted by Fox News. Banks in 2022 alone has lost $1 trillion. This is under Uncle Joe's watch. Joe Biden is behind this whole mess, him and Barack and Michael Obama, okay? Banks have lost $1 trillion going back 2022 as a lead up to the Silicon Valley banking scandal. Banks falling, trillions of dollars missing from the banks, billions of dollars missing from the Pentagon, dollar being destroyed, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, and yet we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Why? It's called money laundering. Banks missing billions. And yet Fox is worth $16.4 billion. Fox is worth $16.4 billion minus the $787 million that was paid to Dominion yesterday, which means there is a remaining balance of $15,613 million. Why was Tucker fired? As of today, $4 billion worth of liquid cash Fox has in the bank, and in addition to $100 billion in non-liquid money throughout the world, the assassination of Tucker Carlson. The question we have to ask ourselves, why wasn't anyone fired but Tucker? Now, after 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 50 seconds of laying foundation, bloodlines from conception to birth to now, through the Murdoch bloodline, going back to the Moravian Empire, going back to the Bohemian Empire, going back to the Fitz-Allen bloodline, going back to the House of Stuart, to the House of Tudor, that comes up to the empire of the Murdochs, who don't really own Fox News, Larry Fink, BlackRock, Vanguard, Capital Financial Group. They own Fox News. In Ephesians 6 and 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Larry Fink set this whole thing up going back 2 years when he, along with Vanguard, bought a 61% controlling interest of Fox News. Do you know that Prince Ben Alaoud, the Saudi billionaire, once owned a part of not just Facebook and Twitter, but previously owned a part of Fox News? Prince Ben Alaoud went to Colombia with Barack Obama. We are told that a woman by the name of Abby Grossberg, a former producer for the Maria Bartiromo show on Fox Business, and then she was sent over to be the producer of the Tucker Carlson show. Abby Grossberg is connected to a young woman by the name of Madeleine Peltz. Now, I would never reveal who my sources are in the government. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be buried 6 feet under. Can I take my time tonight? I said, can I take my time? Abby Grossberg was sent to Fox. She previously was connected to Young Media Matters out of DC. Young Media Matters is ran by George Soros. Who's Abby Grossberg? A former producer for Maria Bartiromo, and she went to Fox and said that Maria said the C word. I'm not talking about the C word for a virus, but the C word. And she also said that Maria was a racist and anti-Semite. None of that was true. So they sent her over to Tucker Carlson. And she blamed Tucker for saying the C word. He said anti-Semite. None of that was true. Abby Grossberg. Now, a woman by the name of Madeleine Peltz, capital Peltz, a young researcher for the Soros organization, the Young Media Matters for American Research in DC, had received the information from Abby Grossberg, where Abby Grossberg was taping Tucker Carlson, was taping Maria Bartiromo, was taping Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert, and also Abby Grossberg was taking the emails, internal emails from Tucker, from Maria Bartiromo, from the Murdochs, Lachlan, the son of Rupert. She took these emails, which is a felony, and was taping conversations, which is a felony in the state of New York. She used the app called the Alter app. O-T-T-E-R. You see, I've got the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said. Abby Grossberg was planted at Fox in order to funnel information to Madeline Peltz concerning Tucker Carlson through the Young Media Matters for American Research out of Washington, D.C. There's no fear in me. I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't care if these people are Jewish or black. Let's get to the truth. Madeline Peltz, who is a racist herself, who is anti-patriot, anti-American, a communist, a socialist, took private property from Abby Grossberg, taping conversations of Rupert Murdoch, his son Lachlan, taping conversations of Maria Bartiromo and Tucker Carlson in order to send that information to Madeline Peltz, who then leaked it to the media. Then that's why Abby has sued Fox News for racial discrimination. You're dealing with demons. She alleges that Fox had tried to set her up and told her to lie to a grand jury, which was not the truth. Who sent her into Fox? She gave out information, privileged information, that she had no legal right to give out. Abby Grossberg connected to Madeline Peltz. She was the one that also sent a copy of the January 6th video before Tucker aired it. You don't know this, but I do. The deep state is so deeply afraid of President Trump. Tucker Carlson was the only voice at Fox that spoke concerning the truth of President Donald J. Trump. Justin Wells, the senior executive producer for the Tucker Carlson show, was fired. All of his phone calls were taped by Abby Grossberg. All of his emails were taken by Abby Grossberg. That's a felony in the state of New York. You're dealing with demons. The lawsuit of $787 million. Smartmatic has a $2.7 billion lawsuit against Fox. Abby Grossberg has a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Fox. Do you guys remember Ray Epps? A video, Pastor Colleen, of Ray Epps at the January 6th march to the Capitol. Ray Epps was saying, let's go to the Capitol. Ray Epps, not one time did Tucker say that Ray Epps was deep state. Not one time did Tucker say that Ray Epps was FBI or CIA or of the National Security Agency. Not one time did Tucker say this, but these demons are upset with Tucker because he exposed Ray Epps. All of the patriots were arrested. Why wasn't Ray Epps even interviewed? I'll tell you why, because he's involved. FedEx. FedEx. Come on, Pastor Sue. Listen. Isn't it interesting? 24 hours before Tucker was fired, Ray Epps is on 60 Minutes. The day before, the same day, AOC, Sandy Cortez, trash, okay? That when she was running for office, she changed her name to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was on MSNBC on a show hosted by Jen Psaki. And AOC said that there should be federal regulation over Fox News concerning Tucker Carlson. 24 hours later, he's fired. Abby Grossberg recorded phone calls and meetings with Maria Bartiromo, Rudy Giuliani, Tucker Carlson, Lachlan, and his father, Rupert Murdoch, which is a felony in New York State. She said that Fox News instructed her to lie during her deposition. But there's no video proof of that. There's no audio proof of that. She's saying this after the fact because they fired her. And they fired her for taking company information, emails, copies of phone calls, and disseminated it, not just to her lawyer and to the press, but to Madeline Peltz of the Young Media Matters Corporation in D.C. You're dealing with demons, man. This is war. Listen, I don't mean to preach. We are in a war, patriots. If you're going to fight, fight. But if you're not here for truth, keep stepping. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Listen, I don't want to preach. I just want to teach. Patriot Purge. We're not fighting against flesh and blood. Fox News has been poisoned from the inside out. 61% of the company is owned by Larry Fink and BlackRock and Vanguard, who are behind the poison of East Palestine. And all these trade derailments, they're behind it. And they, BlackRock, Larry Fink, Vanguard, and your ESG groups had Tucker Carlson fired, had Dan Bongino fired. Oh, Lord, have mercy. But against principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this world. If there are rulers of the darkness of this world, there has to be rulers of the darkness of other worlds. Spiritual wickedness in high places or in high bohemian governmental sections of the world called the Illuminati, the assassination of Tucker Carlson. Your ESG, your environmental groups, along with BlackRock, had assassinated the career of Tucker Carlson at Fox. Fox said that she, Abby Grossberg, was fired for divulging privileged legal information. That's why she was fired. No one called her the C word. No one called her racist words. They're not anti-Semitic, but she brought up the anti-Semitic card because she got caught. Why was she divulging information? Tape phone calls, tape meetings. Okay? Every morning, whether it's Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity, they have departmental meetings that morning to prepare for the broadcast that night. Listen, Abby Grossberg was taping all of that. Why? Because she was a plant into Fox News. Now keep a marker there in Ephesians 6 and 12. Go back to Ephesians 5:13. But all things that are reproved, rebuked, exposed, are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth make manifest his light. Christ said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, not L-I-T-E as in weight, but capital L-I-G-H-T as in illumination. That's why Fox had fired Abby Grossberg, and she's going on MSNBC and crying. See, this is how demons do. They never tell the truth. They tell half of the story. Miss Grossberg said that Tucker Carlson called her the C word, that Maria Bartiromo called her the C word. That's a lie. Why was the case not in New York City? Why did the powers that be move the case to the Delaware Superior Court system under Judge Eric Davis? Judge Eric Davis is a major financial supporter of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Do you understand? Patriots, this is war. Fox News attorney Michael Skokna, S-K-O-K-N-A, Michael Skokna, had said in a legal affidavit that Abby Grossberg was written up 3 times for disclosing privileged information from Fox, took a copy of the January 6th video before Tucker had exposed it and sent it to this woman, Peltz, Madeline Peltz of American Media Matters. You're dealing with demons. Abby Grossberg disclosed privileged information from Fox. AOC said that government regulators need to control Fox News, particularly with Tucker Carlson. This is the same woman, which AOC, who prevented Jeff Bezos of planting an Amazon plant in Long Island, which would have provided 30,000 jobs in New York. But you know why she stopped the AOC? She said, and I quote, it would raise the people's taxes. Stop. She wants you to stay on welfare, New Yorkers. The Democrats and the Republicans, they don't want you to be free. Oh, it will raise the taxes of New Yorkers. So you stop Jeff Bezos of planting a multi-billion-dollar plant? You're dealing with the synagogue of Satan. I'm not talking about Jewish people. 99.9% of the Jewish people are absolutely beautiful people. I'm dealing with one family behind this whole mess, the Rothschilds. AOC is a joke. Then 24 hours later, after she made that statement on MSNBC, Tucker's gone. Tucker Carlson said in an interview that the media is controlled by a powerful system of oligarchs here in America, of big pharma, ESG, governmental, and socialist and communist corporations. And this is the reason why they want to shut your mouth. Remember James O'Keefe of Project Veritas? These demons from the left infiltrated Project Veritas and fired James O'Keefe from the company that he created. Then Tucker Carlson. Why isn't Sean Hannity fired? Did you notice Sean Hannity used to wear that CIA pin on his lapel? Why? Because Sean Hannity is of the same swamp. Judge Jeanine is of the same swamp, okay? Laura Ingraham, these are swamp creatures who don't care about the American people. They didn't care about Tucker Carlson, and they don't care about President Trump. Sean Hannity has an on-air relationship. What's her name? She is the co-host of the morning show at Fox. I can't remember the name of the show. There are two men, and she sits in the middle. Well, Sean Hannity has dated her. That's against company rules. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission chief, is Jessica Rosenworcel. Worcel. Rosenworcel had targeted Tucker by what AOC said this past Sunday night. Tucker Carlson's texts, his voicemails were taped by little Abby Grossberg. You see, that is a felony in the state of New York. A woman by the name of Jackie Heinrich, Jacqui Heinrich, a White House correspondent reporter, had said that we have to fact check Tucker Carlson. Tucker said she should be fired, and rightfully so. Tucker is fired, but Jackie Heinrich is promoted. Fox News is the swamp. Tucker Carlson said in an internal email that Jackie Heinrich should be fired. There's a rule within Fox News never to shoot inside of the tent. Jackie Heinrich was fact-checking both Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity. And you notice Sean Hannity doesn't wear that CIA lapel pin on his lapel anymore. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. Fox News CEO. Fox News CEO, the chief executive officer, Suzanne Scott, her emails, which were unredacted, was taken by Abby Grossberg. Who is Abby Grossberg? Suzanne Scott, an avid anti-Dominion voice. Why wasn't she fired? Meade Cooper, okay? The executive vice president of primetime programming, Meade Cooper, revealed that Ms. Scott, the CEO of Fox, was insisting that Fox News reporters stop fact-checking concerning President Trump's claim. Well, why isn't Suzanne Scott fired? Rupert Murdoch said in a deposition that the Dominion voting machine was rigging the 2020 election. Murdoch said that. Why isn't Murdoch fired? by the board of directors. That's coming. The Dominion Corporation sells technology to another voting company called Smartmatic, created in April of 2000. Smartmatic is not headquartered here in the United States, as Dominion is not headquartered here in the United States. Dominion is headquartered in Toronto, Canada. Smartmatic is headquartered in London, England. Why are non-American companies running our election? It's called corruption. Smartmatic was very influential in the 2020 election. George Soros dominates both Dominion and Smartmatic as far as the elections in Venezuela. Why is the U.S. government allowing foreign companies, foreign entities to run our elections? It makes no sense. 2018, the Staple Street venture capital firm now owns Dominion. And Dominion is saturated with Obama people. I'm not saying they rigged the election, but listen, this is called treason, ladies and gentlemen. Your top three election software corporations, the election systems and software, Dominion, and the Hart Intercivic Group, all run by the Democratic Party. I'm not saying they rigged the election, but if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, guess what? It's not a dog. Can Bishop John Wick continue to teach? The assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. On a left-wing website, the National Public Radio site, they said that Smartmatic and including Dominion has lawsuits against them in Canada, Mexico, throughout South America, and throughout Africa against Dominion. But you don't hear this from the Crack News Network, where Don Sweet Tea Lemon used to work, over at MSNBC with Rachel Maddow and Joy Crisco Oyer-Reed and Sean Hannity, okay, Judge Janine. These are swamp creatures. Why didn't they get fired? Because they got together in order to set up Tucker, the assassination of Tucker Carlson. On Dominion's website, it says that they are a supplier of election technology across the U.S., Canada, and the world. I'm not saying it. It's on their website. This is called receipts. The son of Rupert Murdoch, one of his sons, besides James, Lachlan Murdoch, is also the founder of the Australian investment company called Illyria, capital ILLYRIA, which runs elections throughout Australia. I'm not bashing Judge Janine. Why isn't she fired? Why isn't Maria Bartiromo fired? Why isn't Suzanne Scott fired, the CEO of Fox? Because it's called corruption. Did you hear some of the Fox News anchors? Well, we miss you, Tucker. You did a great job. We wish you well. These are demons and snakes. The assassination of Tucker Carlson. In the next 6 to 12 months, 30% of the workforce at Fox News will lose their jobs. Many of the anchors you see now will be gone. Those that brown-nosed, to Lachlan Murdoch, who is really a liberal trying to run a conservative corporation. Judge Jeanine, she's going to go. Watch. Jesse Watters, all of them are going to go. And Fox will become insolvent. This is what the deep state wanted by planting your Grossbergs and these other demons, and then come out and say, oh, he said this. He said the C word, Out of all the conversations she taped with Tucker and Justin Wells, who happened to be Tucker's executive producer, and the Murdochs, not one time did any of these men say the C word. In my conclusion, the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. President Hugo Chavez won multiple elections because of the Dominion voting systems. ES&S is owned by the McCarthy Group, which the major shareholder of the ES&S voting machine company, that the most of the shares into the McCarthy Group that owns ES&S is owned by George Soros. In 1 John 3:8, is your minds blown tonight? Is your minds blown? Put up those faces, ladies and gentlemen, if your minds are blown tonight. After the 2016 firing of Roger Ailes, the former director, the CEO of Fox News is becoming insolvent. 1 John 3:8, the middle part, for this purpose, the Son of God, the body of God, who is Christ, was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. 39% of Fox is owned by the Murdoch family. 61% is owned by Larry Fink. Don't believe what Google is telling you. 61% of Fox is owned by Larry Fink, BlackRock, and the Vanguard Group. The same groups who's responsible for train derailments all over the country, including Mexico, and including the poisoning of patriots in East Palestine. That's why they wanted Tucker out, because Tucker would not kiss the behind of the deep state. Tucker had also exposed Bill Gates. Bill Gates knew Jeffrey Epstein. Even a liberal anchor from ABC, I believe in New York City, had asked Bill Gates, did your wife divorce you because of your connection to Jeffrey Epstein? He was stuttering and he didn't want to answer. That's why Melinda Gates had divorced Bill, because of Bill's connection to Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Island. And this is another reason why the Tucker was targeted. More lawsuits are coming from Smartmatic, Abby Grossberg, Ray Epps. And again, the only thing that I'm going to ask, as Tucker was asking, who is Ray Epps? Ray Epps said, marching to the Capitol. It's on a video. Let's march to the Capitol. Let's storm the Capitol. Why isn't Ray Epps interviewed? Why wasn't he interviewed by the FBI? Do you understand? Pastor Helena, just turn off your system and turn it back on. Why? No one was, listen, Tucker was accusing Ray Epps of being an FBI informant. I'm not doing that. All we're asking is for the FBI to interview Ray Epps. They won't do it. Why? Now, all of a sudden, Ray Epps is crying, oh, Tucker destroyed my life. No, you destroyed your own life, Ray. FedEx, listen. Abby Grossberg's connection to Madeline Peltz of Young Media Matters for American Research out of D.C. Madeline Peltz said, oh, I got tapes of what Tucker said when he was in college about American ghettos being rat holes. They are. The American chest cavity was not designed to carry a counterfeit heart called communism, socialism, fascism, Leninism, and Marxism. We are not built as a nation to be a communist nation. Ray Epps, this past Sunday on 60 Minutes, do you think that that was by accident? The same day AOC was on MSNBC, then the following morning, Tucker is fired. Smartmatic, $2.7 billion lawsuit against Fox. Ray Epps, multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Fox. The shareholders, BlackRock, they're going to sue Rupert Murdoch, Lachlan Murdoch, and they're going to take Rupert Murdoch's corporation, News Corp, and 21st Century Fox, not 20th Century, 21st Century Fox, and they're going to take the Fox News Corporation away from Rupert Murdoch in order to give a controlling interest to Larry Fink and BlackRock, which BlackRock already owns 61%. This is crazy, man. In other words, Patriots, in my conclusion, this is a war. This is a war. The hammer in the scorecard. Now, the hammer in the scorecard is a software developed by the Central Intelligence Agency during the Bush years and perfected during the Obama administration. The hammer in the scorecard is now activated to steal votes on behalf of liberals. Biden utilized the hammer in the scorecard while running for vice president in 2012, and he did the same thing almost 4 years ago. The scorecard is now stealing votes in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona. Why? Because these demons want to take over our country. This is according to a legal affidavit by Dennis Montgomery, a former CIA contractor turned whistleblower. Montgomery said that he was one of the architects of the hammer in the scorecard going back to the 2012 election, where you're thinking you're voting for Trump when in actuality you're voting for Joe Biden. In Florida, listen, the hammer and the scorecard. This is a software, ladies and gentlemen, that uses a prismatic scoring algorithm that Dennis Montgomery, CIA whistleblower, he said that he created in order to achieve the desired results by those that control the hammer in the scorecard. In the state of Florida, Patriots, one of the transfer points is through VR Systems Incorporated. VR Systems Incorporated, based in Tallahassee, Florida. The software vendor, the VR Systems Incorporated, they operate in 8 U.S. states. The Democrats tested their technology during the Democratic Party primaries. Otherwise, Bernie Sanders would have won the 2020 Democratic nomination and not Uncle Joe. The scorecard was utilized on behalf of Joe Biden and the Biden crime family during the 2020 primaries against Bernie Sanders. The Democratic primary was stolen from Bernie Sanders. According to the CIA, whistleblower Dennis Montgomery said in a legal affidavit through a legal deposition that the CIA had rigged the 2020 election. I didn't say it. Tucker is not saying it. Dennis Montgomery, formerly of the CIA, is saying this. Don't take us down YouTube. I'm not saying it. Tucker wasn't saying it. Dennis Montgomery said in a legal affidavit and through a legal deposition that the scorecard goes back to the 2012 presidential election. This is where Barack Obama won it. In the 2020 election, God put President Trump in office. It wasn't the hammer or the scorecard. Christ put President Trump into the White House. While these demons, Obama and Biden, the algorithm of Lucifer, the hammer in the scorecard, put them into office. According to Dennis Montgomery, who turned over a massive cache of harvested surveillance and election data going back to 2012, including 2015, August 2015, in December 2015, Montgomery gave this information also to the FBI. And so Dennis Montgomery, going back to 2015, received 2 immunity agreements with the FBI, with the CIA. And these 2 immunity agreements were granted to Dennis Montgomery, who had designed the hammer in the scorecard. And these immunity agreements were granted by the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Deborah Curtis. You're dealing with demons, man. The Assistant U.S. Attorney in 2015, Deborah Curtis, including the FBI General Counsel, James Baker, in 2015. Montgomery testified, not just through a legal affidavit that he signed it, but through a legal deposition regarding the hammer in the scorecard, while under oath and while being videotaped at the FBI secure Washington, D.C. field office for sensitive compartmentalized information facility. If the CIA whistleblower Montgomery had lied, he would be in prison today. but Dennis Montgomery is not in prison. And you know why? Because these demons stole this election going back to 2012, the primaries, including the 2020 primaries and the 2020 presidential election. Why isn't, oh Lord, my God, why isn't Dennis Montgomery in prison if he's lying? He's not in prison. And you know why? Because he created the software that is used by Dominion and Smartmatic and the Hart Civic Corporation called the Hammer and the Scorecard. Dennis Montgomery, and I'll talk, listen, let me wipe some of the anointing off. Oh, Lord, have mercy. You see, you're getting a world-class education. This is the reason why Brother Tucker was fired. Okay? The hammer in the scorecard. According to the deposition of Dennis Montgomery, going back in 2015, he said that the former director of national intelligence, John Negroponte, during the Bush years, had invoked the state secrets privilege and the Government Protective Act against Montgomery in order to muzzle him, to prevent him from testifying and exposing Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and the Clintons going back to 2015. Carlotta Wells, the former U.S. DOJ litigator and assistant director of the U.S. Department of Justice since the 1990s, told Montgomery that the state secrets privilege and governor protective order cannot be invoked by government officials for the purpose of covering up government malfeasance. Oh, Lord. Let me say this again. Carlotta Wells, a former U.S. DOJ litigator and assistant director of the U.S. Department of Justice since the 1990s, told Dennis Montgomery, formerly of the CIA, who was exposing not just the Obamas, the Bushes, but the Bidens, told Montgomery that the state secrets privilege and governor protective order cannot be invoked by government officials for the purpose of covering up government malfeasance. If covering up government malfeasance is the government's intention, Wells told Dennis Montgomery the muzzle order is null and void. This is the reason why they targeted Brother Tucker Carlson. In my conclusion, the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. The Obama administration, according not just to the testimony, the legal affidavit, and the legal deposition of Dennis Montgomery going back to 2015, but also according to the deposition of Carlotta Wells, the U.S. DOJ litigator and assistant director of the U.S. Department of Justice since the 1990s, that the Obama administration illegally commandeered the hammer and the scorecard going back as early as 2012. They moved the hammer and the scorecard technology to Fort Washington, Maryland on February 3rd, 2009. Do you understand how wicked these people are? And that information of the hammer and the scorecard was also the reason that President Trump fired James Comey, because Comey was selling those secrets to the Chinese. Always remember, patriots, a nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. For the traitor appears not to be a traitor. He rots the soul of a nation. He infects the body politic so that it can no longer resist. Written by Marcus Cicero within the Roman Empire. The Open Society Foundation. George Soros, these are demons. You and I are in a war. And that is my end tonight. After 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 45 seconds of the assassination of Tucker Carlson. Patriot Purge, and I thank you. Listen, and I know the enemy will come after me, but no weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. Abby Grossberg, you're going to be exposed. Madeline Pelt, you're going to be exposed. Rupert Murdoch and your son, Lakeland, you're going to lose your company. You don't own it. BlackRock owns it. Vanguard owns it. The same demons who poisoned East Palestine now own a 61% controlling interest in Fox News. You got demons running Fox News. And this is the reason why myself as an apostle of Christ, there's no fear in me. It's time for you preachers. Stop being a jellyback preacher. God has not called you. I'm not talking about you students. I'm talking about preachers outside of this class. God has not called you to be a jellyback house Negro preacher. Okay? Rainbow sashes, riding gravy trains with biscuit wheels. Okay? God has not called you to be a transvestite. God has not called you to allow homosexuality in your church. I'm not talking about keeping the people out, but you cannot allow people who are living that lifestyle to sing in the choir, on the praise team, preach it and stop. This is the reason why Mike Todd has not been called to preach or the pastor. One of his ministers, dressed in all pink, okay? Charles Metcalf, okay? These are of the synagogue of Dean. I'm not talking about Jews. My beautiful Jewish brothers and sisters, 99.9% of them are beautiful. I'm talking about one family, the Rothschilds. Perceive that which cannot be seen with the naked eye. It's time for patriots to stand. Have you seen videos, Pastor Colleen, Pastor Sam, on social media? Grown men in bassinets, okay? With the little, what do you call that? That little rubber thing you put in the baby's mouth. What's that called? Grown men in bassinets being fed by their wives, pacified. Grown men. What's wrong with America? Oh, Lord have mercy. Grown men wearing diapers. Who's responsible? Not just the left, but I blame the patriots for allowing it to happen. And the church should never capitulate to this. I would never capitulate to this. It's delusion crypto. That's why they're trying to take over, okay, our government. It is time for you, the patriots. It's time for you to get your country back, okay? We've got an illegal president. Okay, at Tyler Perry Studios, I'm sorry, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's time to rise up. I'm not talking about destroying property. It's time to go into prayer. It's time to march peacefully, but at the same time, the kingdom of God suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. But why aren't you standing? Oh, Bishop, I don't want to lose. This is how preachers do. I don't want to lose my 501c3. Bishop, my pastor said we should not be fighting demons, but stop. Okay? And do you think it's by accident that Don Sweet Tea Lemon was fired 5 minutes after Tucker was fired? 501c3 has to go, Pastor Benjamin Clark. Thank you, everyone, for being with the bishop tonight. You see, you got to remember this. Write this down. The light has no mercy for the darkness. The light has no mercy for the darkness. You heard the bloodlines concerning the Murdochs going back to the Moravian Empire, the Bohemian Empire, the House of Stuart, the House of Tudor, okay? The bloodline of FitzAlan migrating from France, from England, from Wales, and from Ireland to Australia that has produced this demon, Rupert Murdoch. And I want to reveal something to you, what I also know. Listen, why they fired Tucker. And I love how Pastor Sippy says, one of my spiritual daughters on Instagram, she says, come here. You got me doing that now, Pastor Sippy, come here. The reason why Rupert Murdoch fired Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson knows the mess of Rupert Murdoch and Lakeland Murdoch, his son. Tucker Carlson knows their mess. Child parties. Do you understand? So this is he was going to expose it, Pastor Benjamin. Why not fire Judge Jeanine? Judge Jeanine, Sean Hannity was talking about dominion more so than Tucker when he said paled in comparison to what Sean Hannity and Judge Jeanine, but they sold out Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson knows the dirt on Rupert Murdoch and Lakeland Murdoch, his son, and James Murdoch, the other son of Rupert. Mix in with some Pizzagate. That's why they got rid of my brother Tucker Carlson. Not because of Dominion, not because of Abby Grossberg, not because of Ray Epps, not because Fox is losing millions, but because Tucker knows Rupert Murdoch's mess, and he knows Lakeland Murdoch's mess, and he knows James Murdoch's mess. That's why Tucker Carlson was assassinated career-wise at Fox. But Tucker is going to start his own media company. This is the reason why, Bishop, I don't work for ABC, Fox, Newsweek. I don't work, listen, I don't work for these demons. I work for Christ. We are launching a brand new nationally syndicated television show next year, the Global Masterclass Television Talk Show. We're also going to launch, God willing, in 2024, the Global Movement Studios, where Christ-centered writers, screenwriters, television writers, stage writers, actors, actresses, directors, executive producers can send us content, Christ-centered, red pill, anti-matrix, apostolically anointed people who are rejected by Paramount and rejected by Columbia Records and rejected by Sony Music and Sony Records and Sony Pictures, who are rejected by DreamWorks, can come apostolically and be a part of the Global Movement Studios in Hollywood. If you want something you never had before, you have to be willing to do something you've never done before. If you want something you never had before, you got to be willing to do something that's never been done before. No one is doing what I'm doing and getting ready to do, not even TD Snakes, because I'm not a part of the swamp here. Woo! Thank you, everyone. Was your minds blown tonight? Was your minds blown? Put up those faces if your minds are blown. You won't win a lot of friends. Friends will leave you. Family will. I'm telling you, if you stand up for this truth, you will walk alone. The assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge, and I thank you. Listen, all of the moderators, please put up our PayPal link. Aren't you glad that the bishop did not go on holiday vacation? Aren't you glad, Pastor Colleen? The Lord said no, and he confirmed it through a lot of close pastor friends I have overseas, in Africa, throughout Europe. And also what my staff said in New York, they said, Bishop, don't get on a plane. One of my staff members has said, Reverend Busby, Bishop, if you get on the plane, you won't be back. If you get on the plane now, you won't be back. So I have to follow the lead of the Lord. All of the moderators, please, if you can, put up our PayPal link. All of the moderators, do that right now, okay? Pastor Ty Kemp, we're also going to make you a moderator as well, Pastor Ty, okay? We're going to do that as well in Yeshua's holy name. All of the moderators, please put up paypal.me/GSRR Media Group, paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. Viewers, don't leave us. I have a major announcement. There it goes, right under Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group with black letters with a yellow or gold background, or right beside Pastor Chris Black's name, right beside Pastor Emma Knowles' name, or right beside Pastor Tierra's name, or right beside Pastor Sam's name, or right beside Pastor True Witness Ministries' name, or right beside Pastor Colleen's name. Click on the PayPal link. Take this. I like to call it mice or rat or mouse. Take this or your finger. Follow my finger, whether you have a desktop, laptop, Chrome tablet, Apple tablet, Android or iPhone or Apple Watch. Just click on paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. Any one of these links, PayPal. And after you click on the PayPal link, thank you, Pastor Colleen, then click send. Don't click request, click send. After you click on the PayPal link, click send. Allow me to blow my nose, please. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Pastor Sam, that's cleansing, okay? After you click on the PayPal link, then click send. No one's teaching this, Pastor Sam. And if they're telling you they're teaching this, they are lying. Click on paypal.me. You don't need a PayPal account, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need a PayPal account. Just click on paypal.me/GSR Media Group. After you click on paypal.me/GSR Media Group, then click send. You need to plant right now the Lord's tithe. It is very critically important, very important that you plant the Lord's tithe. It is non-negotiable. You don't tell me, well, Bishop, I got to pay my bills first. No, Christ is first, not your bill. Okay? Whether if your gross was 3,000, the Lord's tithe is 300. If your gross is 2,000, the Lord's tithe is 200. If your gross is 1,000, the Lord's tithe is 100. Listen, please plant, okay? Oh, you got to mute yourself when you blow your nose, Bishop. You know, I've been told to do that, okay? But listen, plant the Lord's tithe. Also, ladies and gentlemen, plant an apostolic financial offering right now. You should be like popcorn, $50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200, 500, 1,000. Three of you give 1,000. Like Pastor Colleen says, you should be like popcorn. Plant the Lord's tithe first. The gross of the Lord's tithe, not what you give after what Uncle Sam takes out. Uncle Sam is not first. Christ is first. Also plant $50 or more. 50 is a number of Pentecost. It comes from the Greek word Pentecoste, which means jubilee and liberation. Okay? And I thank God we have sons and daughters in the entertainment industry. When I say sons and daughters, apostolically now. Sons and daughters in the entertainment industry here. Also, they are writers and screenwriters on a B level. Okay? 3 of them are A-listers, actors whose names I would never reveal. Okay? I have to use wisdom. Also, we got sons and daughters back in New York who are doctors and lawyers, and a few of them are judges at the family court level in New York and New Jersey, and some of them also in Virginia. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please go to our Cash App, right beside True Witness name, his name, right beside Apostle True Witnesses Ministries names, the Cash App, $ Global Revolution 1. If you got a Cash App, go to your Cash App and type in the link $ then Global Revolution 1. Now, after the $, the words Global Revolution should be in all upper capitalized letters. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So again, that is the Cash App link is $ Global Revolution, then the number 1. Okay. The rest of you go to paypal.me/GSR Media Group. Also, don't forget to smash the like button, the thumbs up, okay? That helps the apostolic algorithm here, okay? Plant your best. Please don't be like Cain. Don't give God scraps. Don't do that. The Lord will curse you. Plant the Lord's tithe. It's not your money. It's not your tithe. It's the Lord's. Also plant $50, 60, 80, 100, 200. You should be like popcorn. 300, 400, 500, 600, 800. 3 of you give 1,000. I thank God. Also, we got those in the spiritual sons in the NFL, a few in the NBA. Those I prayed for today, they're in some of them, few of them are members of particular teams in the NBA playoffs. Okay. They give 1,000 every week. These guys are multimillionaires. They can afford that. Okay. 3 of you give 1,000. The rest of you give your best. Did you enjoy tonight's teaching? Spread this teaching throughout Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Gab, Telegram. Spread this teaching concerning the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge. I had planned it. Bishop, thank you, Pastor Craig Moore. Thank you so much. Pastor Craig Moore, Pastor Dave, I don't know if you're there, Pastor Dave. Do apologize. I couldn't get with you guys this past Sunday. I was so tired. for summers, just tired. But I will see you guys this Sunday, okay? So I'm not going on holiday for a couple of weeks, okay? Until the Lord releases me. Thank you, Apostle Kim. Praying healing and deliverance over all. Cash at $ Global Revolution 1. Global Revolution 1. The rest of you, go to paypal.me/GSR Media Group. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. Take this or your finger and just go to and click on paypal.me/GSR Media Group. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. After you click on the PayPal link, then click send. Don't click request, click send, and plant the Lord's tithe, and also plant $50, $80, $100. Thank God for Pastor Chris Harris, one of our powerful pastors, our students here in Long Beach, California. Thank you, man of God. Continue to plant $300, $400, $500, all of you, $800. Do that right now. If you're a multimillionaire or close to it, and what we've been going through for going on, 3 years now, has not put a dent in your finances, give $1,000, give $2,000. No one is teaching this, okay? No, thank you for connecting the dots and for laying out foundation. Thank you, woman of God, the nurse juris doctor. Thank you so much, woman of God. Thank you so much. Laying that foundation from conception to birth to now, what happened yesterday. Brother Tucker, I hope and pray that you're watching this. You're going to be just fine, Brother Tucker. I guarantee you. And I've been in tears for him the last 48 hours. Because Pastor Colleen, the viciousness of the left, okay? If you don't agree with what they stand for, they call you a racist or an Uncle Tom like me. But no weapon that's formed against me or Tucker Carlson or against you shall prosper. Bishop, another mind-blowing teaching. Thank you, Pastor Mark Williams, my son in Christ. Thank you, all of you guys. Pastor Rick Remington, I spread this teaching to usually 50 to 60 people. Thank you, Pastor Rick. Love you, man of God. Love you, Pastor Rick. Love you, Pastor Mark. Love you, Apostle Ty. Love you, Pastor Sam, Apostle Jody Bird. Love you, Pastor Harriet. All of you guys. Love you, Pastor Colleen, my beautiful daughter. All you guys. Give my love to your husband, Pastor Colleen. Let him know he's my spiritual son. I hope he's watching tonight. All you guys, thank you. And give my love to Apostle Carlotta, Apostle Ty. All you guys, thank you for being with the bishop tonight. Was your minds blown? Pastor Annette, great to see you. Love your daughter in Christ. Pastor Craig Moore, love you, son. Pastor Erica, love you. Erica White, love you. My daughter in Christ. All you guys. Pastor Soto, Lalo Soto, I love that name. Love you in Christ. Pastor Sonia, love you in Christ. Pastor Tierra, my beautiful daughter in the great state of North Carolina, love you in Christ. All of you guys, I'm in love with you. Now, don't think it's strange when the bishop says he's in love with you. It means I love you as Christ loves you. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you. God bless you, Reverend Busby. Great to see your daughter, my daughter in Christ. Powerful preacher, powerful minister of Christ. God bless you, Reverend Busby, Pastor Busby. All you guys, Pastor Zanetta, thank you for your patience. I'm coming to Pittsburgh. I'm coming, okay? I have to obey the Lord by not getting on the plane. I don't know why, but God doesn't have to tell me why. But I am a target, okay? We are praying for you and can't wait to see. Pastor Ty, I'm coming down to Tennessee as well, okay? And so you guys, Pastor Ty, was scheduled to see him this month, but it won't be until May, Apostle Ty. I'm coming to Tennessee. I'm coming to Pittsburgh, Pastor Zanetta. Love you, all you guys. Keep me in your prayers. Pastor Rick says, I have never gone to this high of teaching level in my years. Oh, Lord have mercy. Thank you, Pastor Rick. I really appreciate that, man of God. Obey the mind of God, Bishop, always. Thank you, Pastor Sam. Oh, Pastor Ewing, you're there from Detroit. God bless you. God bless you, Pastor True Witness. Love you. God bless you, Apostle, Bishop, and all. God bless you, pastors at True Witness Ministries. I love that ministry name, True Witness Ministries. Pastor Benjamin Clark, thank you. Just playing it, Bishop. Thank you, Pastor Benjamin Clark. Love you, man of God. You are a man's man. You are a true man of God. I'm telling you, when God made a man, he made you, Pastor Benjamin Clark and Pastor Sam and Pastor Jody and Apostle Ty. Love all of you guys. God bless you. Okay. Woo! I'm telling you. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Okay. You definitely cried aloud and spare not, holding you up in prayer. Thank you, Pastor Zanetta. Love your daughter in Christ from the beautiful city and state of Pittsburgh, PA. God bless you. Oh my God. What happened to Jamie Foxx? He had, to my understanding, he had a massive heart attack. Jamie Foxx had a massive heart attack. More liquidations are coming this week, Pastor Benjamin. You guys remember 2 years ago, the bishop had prophesied, the Lord spoke through me. Hollywood actors, actresses, entertainers, sports figures, past, present, are going to pass. It's been happening for the past 2 years. Okay? God bless you. Love you, Pastor Tierra. God bless all you guys. Good night. Listen, Pastor Sam, I'm being introduced to this. There's a company out here called Nectar, and they sell juices and from fruit, and they sell this this combination, I think, of not ice cream, but strawberries, bananas. I know I'm not supposed to be eating bananas, and kale and peanut butter. I've been losing weight. Harry Belafonte died today. Oh man, wow, that's a tremendous loss. We'll pray for his family. He was a great man. I didn't agree with his politics because he's on the left, but he is a great man. Wow, I think his daughter was a actress, if I'm not sure. Pastor David Bishop Wick, when we get it together for dinner this Sunday, Pastor Dave and Pastor Craig Moore this Sunday. Okay. Let's meet at 4 p.m. at our spot downtown LA. Okay. Sherry Belafonte. Thank you, Pastor Benjamin Clark. And I think Sherry has a brother too, or brothers. I'm not sure. No peanut butter, Bishop. Okay. I'm not going to eat no more peanut butter. I've been losing weight. And you know, I don't know if you guys heard of this company. I think it's called Preveno. You go under this machine and they just take an x-ray of your whole body, and they can predetermine through 500-degree angles of your body what a person is going to have in the future, diseases. The Lord told me, don't get under it, Bishop. I'm telling you, the Lord told me last year, okay, you don't need a colonoscopy, Bishop, okay? The Lord told me, Pastor Sam, if you get a colonoscopy, you won't wake up, Bishop. And God told me, don't go down to downtown LA to Preveno and go under this machine. You see, I have to be careful, okay? It's a hybrid. Ooh, thank you, Pastor Colleen. No meats. I've been eating no meats for the past 4 days, and the weight's coming off. God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. I'm scheduled to go to more events. Praise God. And also not just walking the red carpet, but interviewing as well. I'm not going to say where. Okay. Listen, when you are silent, your enemies will not know what and when to attack. God bless you. It's dinner time for me. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Share this teaching. Brother Tucker Carlson, you're going to be fine. But allow me to give a word to the Fox News Corporation. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. Rupert Murdoch, Lachlan Murdoch, you're going to end up selling 39% of your company, which means you're going to sell your company. To the Murdoch family, your company that you built for the past 40 to 50 years will be destroyed, because you have allowed demons from the left to get their claws into Fox News. Fox News will eventually be sold. Fox News, after it is sold, it would be eviscerated from the inside out, from the outside in, and it will become insolvent for years to come. For thus saith the Lord. Thank you for being with the bishop tonight. Thank you, Pastor Stacy. Oh, was your minds blown tonight? I said, was your minds blown? Plant your very best financial gift. PayPal.me/GSR Munica. For thus saith the Lord, prophesying to the wind. Tucker Carlson, you are free of that mess. And Brother Tucker, it would be my wisdom, Brother Tucker, that you start your own media company. I like Glenn Beck. I have nothing against Glenn Beck, Pastor Colleen, Pastor Benjamin, Pastor Ellis. But if I was Tucker's bishop, I would advise him not to go to the Blaze. The Blaze is fine, but don't go to the Blaze, but start your own media conglomerate. Okay? So you won't be controlled. God bless you. Pastor Ewing, spread these teachings. Ally 7 Detto, thank you. I love that. Ally 7 Detto. Love you, Ally 7 Detto. Love you, Pastor Ewing. I'm coming to Detroit as well. There's a brand new restaurant down in Detroit. It's been there for like a year. I'm going to get to. God bless you. Can't wait to see it, Pastor Ellis. I'll let you guys know soon. Put Christ first, Brother Tucker. That's right, Pastor. Saying if you put Christ first, everything else would take care of itself. I'm in Michigan. Oh, Alley 7 Detto. What city do you live in? Do you live in Detroit? Where do you live, Alley 7 Detto? And when I come back to Detroit, I want to call you guys, okay? If you can, you guys send me, text the ministry, your name, where you live in Michigan, okay? 917-736-5946. 917-736-5946, okay? Do that, 917-736-5946, okay? Text us, especially those you live in Michigan, text us your name and number so we can coordinate a time so the bishop can come and see you, okay? Jerry Hall marrying Rupert, oh, Lord have mercy. He needs to take his X-Lax and sit down, okay? Patriots, it's war. It's war. If you have fear, you don't belong here. I have no fear. I can call out Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, Brother Twinkie. I can call out the Murdochs and Sean Hannity and Judge Jeanine. They don't care about you, but Christ does. And Brother Tucker, put Christ first. President Trump, you will be elected, but the key, President Trump, is putting Christ first. President Trump, when you put Christ first, you will become reelected, President Trump. Easy. And it's going to happen. God bless you. The assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge, and I thank you. We'll see you guys on Thursday. We're not blaming Dominion nor Smartmatic. Okay? I'm not blaming, listen, any corporation for the 2020 election. We're just asking questions. We're not blaming you, Ray Epps. Somebody said Fed Epps. Okay? We need to know who you are, Ray Epps, and why the FBI did not interview you, Ray Epps. Why? Even though you, Ray Epps, was the one that told the Patriots to go to the Capitol and storm it. It's on a video. Okay? God bless you. We see you guys on Thursday. Spread this teaching, the assassination of Tucker Carlson, Patriot Purge, and I thank you. I'll see you guys Thursday. God bless you. I'm blaming all of them. Thank you, Pastor Allie. Love you guys. I'll see you Thursday from here from Los Angeles. God bless.